Welcome to a new episode of Sleep Journey Through Lost Worlds, your podcast for relaxing, letting go, and learning. Are you familiar with our other Sleep Journey series, such as Sleep Journey Through the Universe? Tonight, we travel together to one of humanity's most magnificent archaeological wonders, a place where stone and spirituality merge into an unforgettable testament to human ambition and devotion. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to drift with me to the heart of Cambodia, to the ancient temple complex of Angkor Wat. The discovery and rediscovery. Let us begin our journey in the year 1860, when French naturalist Henri Mouhot pushed through the dense Cambodian jungle, guided by local inhabitants who knew these ruins intimately. Though Angkor Wat was never truly lost to the Khmer people, Mouhot's detailed accounts brought this architectural marvel to Western attention. His journals describe temples rising from the forest floor like mountains crafted by divine hands, their surfaces covered in intricate carvings that told stories thousands of years old. But Angkor Wat's story begins much earlier, in the early 12th century, during the reign of King Suryavarman II. Between approximately 1113 and 1150 CE, this Khmer monarch commissioned what would become the largest religious monument ever constructed. Imagine the scene. Tens of thousands of workers, craftsmen, and artists laboring for decades to transform millions of sandstone blocks into a representation of Mount Meru, the sacred mountain at the center of the Hindu and Buddhist cosmos. The name Angkor Wat itself reveals the temple's essence. Angkor derives from the Sanskrit word Nagara, meaning city, while Wat is the Khmer word for temple. Together, they form Payaman Temple City, a fitting name for a complex that covers approximately 162.6 hectares, making it larger than many medieval European cities of its time. The architecture of cosmic harmony. As you relax deeper into this journey, picture yourself approaching Angkor Wat from the west, the traditional direction of entry. Before you stretches a causeway, exactly 250 meters long, crossing a moat that encircles the entire complex. This moat measures an impressive 190 meters wide and forms a rectangle around the temple grounds. The moats serve practical purposes, providing water management during Cambodia's dramatic monsoon seasons, but it also held profound symbolic meaning, representing the cosmic ocean surrounding Mount Meru. The temple's orientation toward the west is unusual for Hindu temples, which typically face east to greet the rising sun. This westward orientation has sparked centuries of scholarly debate. Some experts suggest it indicates Angkor Wat was designed as a funerary temple for Suryavarman II, as west is associated with death in Hindu tradition. Others point to the temple's dedication to Vishnu, a deity sometimes associated with the western direction. Let your mind wander through the temple's three concentric galleries, each rising higher than the last, creating a sacred mountain of stone. The outer gallery measures 187 by 215 meters, its walls adorned with some of the longest continuous bas-relief narratives in the world. These reliefs stretch for approximately 800 meters, depicting scenes from Hindu epics, historical battles, and celestial mythology. The central tower rises 65 meters above the ground, originally capped with gold. From the air, Angkor Wat's layout reveals perfect mathematical precision. The temple's dimensions incorporate the ancient Khmer unit of measurement called the hat, equivalent to approximately 0.43 meters. The distances between key architectural features correlate with Hindu and Buddhist cosmological time cycles. For instance, the axial length of the temple measures 1,728 hat, a number significant in Hindu chronology as it represents the length of the Krita Yuga, the first and most perfect age in the cycle of four world ages, the engineering marvel. Breathe slowly now and consider the extraordinary engineering feat that Angkor Wat represents. The sandstone blocks, each weighing up to 1.5 tons, were quarried from Phnom Kolan, a mountain approximately 40 kilometers northeast of Angkor. Researchers estimate that the temple required between 5 and 10 million sandstone blocks. How did 12th century engineers transport such massive quantities of stone? Evidence suggests they used Cambodia's network of rivers and canals. During the monsoon season, when water levels rose, stones were likely floated on rafts along specially constructed waterways. Teams of workers would then drag these blocks using ropes and wooden rollers, positioning them with remarkable precision without mortar or cement. Instead, the blocks were cut so precisely that they fit together through their own weight and careful shaping, a technique that has allowed many structures to survive centuries of weathering, vegetation growth, and even earthquakes. The temple's foundation presents another engineering mystery. Built on sandy soil that could easily shift or sink, Angkor Wat has remained remarkably stable for nearly 900 years. Archaeological investigations reveal that the builders created an ingenious foundation system, possibly using sand cushions and careful drainage to prevent subsidence. The temple's designers understood hydrology with sophisticated precision, creating systems to channel rainwater away from vulnerable structures while maintaining the aesthetic and symbolic importance of water features. The Gallery of Stories. Allow yourself to drift now through the bas-relief galleries, where stone becomes storytelling. The Southern Gallery depicts the most famous scene, the churning of the ocean of milk, or Samudra Manthan, a Hindu creation myth of cosmic significance. In this narrative, gods and demons cooperate in a temporary alliance, using the serpent Vasuki as a rope wrapped around Mount Mandara to churn the cosmic ocean. Their labor produces Amrita, the elixir of immortality, along with various divine treasures. The relief shows 88 demons on one side and 92 gods on the other, pulling the serpent in opposite directions. At the center, Vishnu orchestrates the churning in his turtle incarnation, Kurma, serving as the pivot point beneath the mountain. The figures stretch across 49 meters of wall, their muscles straining, their expressions captured in eternal effort. Marine creatures swirl in the churn waters below, while celestial beings dance above. The Western Gallery presents the Battle of Kurukshetra from the Mahabharata, that epic tale of family conflict and dharma. Here, carved warriors ride elephants and horses into combat, their weapons raised, their formations precisely detailed. Historians have identified specific historical references within these scenes, including what may be portraits of Suryavarman II himself depicted with his armies. In the Northern Gallery, you'll find perhaps the most spiritually significant relief, the victory of Vishnu over the demons. This 94-meter-long narrative shows Vishnu in various forms, destroying forces of chaos and establishing cosmic order. The carving's detail astounds modern observers, with individual facial expressions distinguishable on hundreds of figures, each warrior's costume unique, each gesture purposeful. The Khmer Empire's zenith. To understand Angkor Wat fully, we must understand the civilization that created it. The Khmer Empire, at its height between the 9th and 13th centuries, controlled vast territories encompassing modern Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Its capital, Angkor, may have housed between 750,000 and 1 million people during the 12th century, making it one of the world's largest pre-industrial cities. This population density was supported by one of history's most sophisticated hydraulic engineering systems. The Khmer built hundreds of kilometers of canals, massive reservoirs called barrages, and an intricate network of waterways that allowed 3 rice harvests per year instead of the usual one. The West Barrage, constructed in the 11th century, measures 8 kilometers long and 2.2 kilometers wide, holding approximately 48 million cubic meters of water. This hydraulic mastery gave the Khmer Empire its wealth and power. Rice surpluses supported not only the population, but also enabled the employment of countless artisans, soldiers, administrators, and priests. The empire's prosperity attracted traders from China, India, and Southeast Asia, making Angkor a cosmopolitan center where ideas, religions, and technologies merged. Suryavarman II, Angkor Wat's patron, ruled during this golden age. Historical inscriptions describe him as a warrior king who expanded Khmer territory through campaigns against neighboring kingdoms. He sent diplomatic missions to China, and Chinese records from the Song dynasty mention embassies from Chenla, the Chinese name for the Khmer Empire, arriving with exotic gifts including rhinoceros horns and fragrant woods. The artistic achievement. Let your breathing slow now, becoming peaceful and regular, as we contemplate the artistic mastery preserved in Angkor Wat's stones. The temple contains approximately 1,850 apsaras, celestial dancing figures carved in relief across the walls and towers. These apsaras, female spirits from Hindu and Buddhist mythology, appear in 37 different styles of headdresses and represent various moods and dance positions. Each apsara measures approximately 1 meter in height, her body adorned with intricate jewelry, her posture frozen in mid-dance. Modern researchers have cataloged the different hairstyles, clothing patterns, and hand gestures, revealing a sophisticated system of iconography. Some hold lotus flowers, symbols of purity and spiritual awakening. Others display mudras, symbolic hand gestures with specific meanings in Hindu and Buddhist tradition. The level of detail extends to architectural elements. Devatas, guardian deities, stand in niches throughout the temple, each unique in facial features and ornamentation. Blind doorways, non-functional doors carved in relief on solid walls, demonstrate architectural elements serving purely aesthetic and symbolic purposes. These false doors maintain the temple's symmetry while representing the boundary between earthly and divine realms. The causeway's balustrades feature Naga serpents, their multiple heads flaring outward, representing the rainbow bridge connecting human and divine worlds. These Nagas appear throughout Khmer architecture, descended from Indian mythology where they serve as protectors and symbols of water, fertility, and the underworld. The religious transformation. Angkor Wat's spiritual journey mirrors the religious evolution of Southeast Asia. Originally dedicated to Vishnu, the temple reflected Suryavarman II's personal devotion to this Hindu deity. However, after the king's death, the temple gradually transformed. By the late 13th century, as Theravada Buddhism spread through Cambodia, Angkor Wat became a Buddhist temple, a transition it maintains today. This religious transformation occurred without destroying the Hindu iconography. Instead, Buddhist images were added, creating a layered spiritual landscape. Statues of Buddha were installed in galleries and chambers, and Buddhist rituals began to be performed alongside the remaining Hindu imagery. This peaceful religious transition demonstrates the spiritual flexibility that characterized Khmer culture. Rather than viewing religions as mutually exclusive, the Khmer synthesized elements from Hinduism, Buddhism, and indigenous animistic traditions. Many modern Cambodians see no contradiction in honoring both Hindu and Buddhist elements within the same sacred space. The temple never fell completely into abandonment. While other Angkor structures were reclaimed by jungle, Buddhist monks maintained a presence at Angkor Wat throughout the centuries. This continuous religious use, even during periods of political upheaval, helped preserve the temple from the worst ravages of time and vegetation. Now let us pause in our journey for a moment of quiet meditation. Imagine yourself sitting in one of Angkor Wat's galleries as dawn breaks. The first light touches the central towers, turning the gray sandstone golden. The air is cool, carrying the scent of incense and tropical flowers. Birds call from the surrounding forest. Take a deep breath in through your nose, counting slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a moment. Release slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feel your body relaxing, your shoulders dropping, your jaw unclenching. With each breath, imagine you're drawing in the peace of this ancient place, a peace that has persisted through centuries. Thousands of hands shaped these stones, millions of feet have walked these causeways. Countless prayers have been whispered in these galleries. You are part of an unbroken chain of human experience, stretching back through time. Breathe in, stability, permanence, connection. Breathe out, worry, tension, haste. Continue this rhythm, letting the weight of 9 centuries of contemplation settle gently around you like morning mist. You are here in this moment, part of something larger than yourself. When you are ready, let your attention return slowly to our journey. As our journey continues, we must address the question that haunts all Grewat civilizations. What happened to the builders of Angkor Wat? The Khmer Empire's decline occurred gradually over the 14th and 15th centuries, driven by multiple interconnected factors. Climate research using tree ring data and other paleoclimate indicators reveals that the Khmer hydraulic system, while sophisticated, was vulnerable to extreme weather events. Decades-long droughts interspersed with devastating floods stressed the water management infrastructure that supported Angkor's population. The system that had enabled the empire's rise became a liability when climate patterns shifted. Simultaneously, the rise of Theravada Buddhism, with its emphasis on individual spiritual practice rather than grand temple construction, redirected resources away from monumental building projects. Trade patterns shifted as maritime commerce became more important than overland roads, favoring coastal cities over inland capitals. The Thai kingdom of Ayutthaya rose in power, launching military campaigns against Angkor. Historical records indicate that Ayutthaya forces besieged Angkor in 1431, though scholars debate whether this attack truly caused the capital's abandonment or merely symbolized a transition already underway. By the mid-15th century, the Khmer court had relocated to Phnom Penh, near the confluence of the Mekong and Tonle Sap rivers, leaving Angkor to the forest. Yet even as political power shifted, Angkor Wat endured. Its Buddhist community maintained the temple, and pilgrims continued to visit. When Portuguese traders and missionaries arrived in Cambodia in the 16th century, they described Angkor Wat with awe, comparing it to the monuments of ancient Rome. The 19th century Western discovery of Angkor initiated both fascination and exploitation. Following Cambodia's colonization by France in 1863, French scholars from the École Française d'Extrême-Orient began systematic study and conservation efforts. These early archaeologists faced enormous challenges: trees growing from temple roofs, roots penetrating stone walls, centuries of accumulated soil and vegetation. The temple complex suffered during Cambodia's tragic period of civil war and Khmer Rouge rule from 1970 to 1991. Looting increased dramatically, with carved sections cut from walls and stolen for sale on international art markets. Landmines were planted in surrounding areas, making some zones inaccessible for years. In 1992, UNESCO designated Angkor as a World Heritage Site, triggering international conservation efforts. Teams from Japan, India, Germany, France, and other nations have contributed expertise and funding. Indian conservation teams have worked on the churning of the Ocean of Milk Gallery, using traditional methods similar to those employed by the original builders. Japanese experts have developed innovative techniques to stabilize foundations without disrupting the site's archaeological integrity. Modern technology has revolutionized understanding of Angkor. Laser scanning technology called LiDAR, which uses aircraft-mounted lasers to penetrate jungle canopy, has revealed previously unknown temples, roads, and urban features. These discoveries show that Angkor was even larger than previously believed, with a sophisticated urban layout extending far beyond the main temple complexes. Today, Angkor Wat stands as Cambodia's most important cultural symbol, appearing on the national flag. Approximately 2 million tourists visit annually, bringing crucial economic benefits, but also conservation challenges. The temple's sandstone erodes from countless hands touching carved surfaces. Increased humidity from visitors' breath affects the stone's integrity. Footfalls gradually wear down ancient stairs. Managing this balance between accessibility and preservation requires careful planning. Conservationists have installed protective barriers around particularly fragile reliefs, created alternative pathways to reduce pressure on original structures, and monitor environmental conditions continuously. Some areas are restricted to limit impact on the most vulnerable sections. Local Cambodian communities maintain deep connections to Angkor Wat. The temple serves as an active religious site, with monks conducting ceremonies and festivals marking important Buddhist holidays. During Khmer New Year in April, thousands of Cambodians make pilgrimages to Angkor Wat, continuing traditions that span centuries. These living traditions ensure that Angkor remains not merely a historical monument, but a vital part of contemporary spiritual life. As our journey through Angkor Wat draws toward its close, let us consider what this magnificent creation teaches us. The Khmer Empire's rise and fall demonstrates both human capability and vulnerability. The builders of Angkor Wat accomplished extraordinary feats through knowledge, organization, and dedication. They created systems so sophisticated that modern engineers still study them with admiration. Yet even this great civilization could not withstand the combined pressures of climate change, resource depletion, and political upheaval. The hydraulic system that sustained millions became inadequate when rainfall patterns shifted. The forests that provided timber and resources were depleted. The empire that seemed permanent proved temporary. Our Earth is our Angkor Wat, our shared heritage, our home. Like that ancient temple, our planet is simultaneously robust and fragile, capable of enduring yet vulnerable to neglect. The same human ingenuity that built Angkor Wat, that created the Khmer hydraulic system, that carved stories into stone, can also address the environmental challenges we face. Every action matters. Every choice to protect rather than exploit, to sustain rather than deplete, to cooperate rather than conflict, becomes a stone in the foundation of humanity's future. The builders of Angkor Wat worked for decades on a vision that would outlast them by centuries. We must adopt similar long-term thinking, making choices today that honor the needs of generations yet to come. The temple sleeps in the Cambodian jungle, watched over by those who understand its importance. Similarly, our planet turns through space, entrusted to our care. May we prove worthy of that trust. May we be ancestors remembered with gratitude for the choices we made, the beauty we preserved, the world we protected. Sleep well, dreamer. Tomorrow awaits, full of possibility, on our precious, irreplaceable Earth.